Oh boy. Here we are. Geez.
What a roller coaster that was.
Wow. 22 minutes I'll never get back from my life. You know, we're only given a short, like maybe 85, maybe 90 years if you're super lucky on this earth. And I'm glad to know. I'm glad to know that I just spent the last 20 minutes trying to figure out why OBS just did not want to, just wanted to kill my bit rate every couple minutes, or every couple seconds even. And I did nothing and it fixed it. So this is great. It's a wonderful place to start. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another eFrontier live stream. Boy, howdy. We kicked this one off with a bang. Thank you so much, by the way, for your patience. I'm not guaranteeing that it's going to be perfect the whole time. I can still see that I'm dropping frames every so often, but it's not as frequently. So we're just going to go with it and hope for the best. I don't have a better option than that. And the good news is I do have a great guest here with me joining us today. Oh, I'm CCP Jötunn, by the way. I don't know if that part was clear. The Fan Fest. Oh, it's because the title is wrong. It's because we started the stream and then stopped it and started it and stopped it several times. We're probably like 6 different streams forward in CCP's calendar, which is a lot of fun. A lot of fun for us, specifically me. Shout out to CCP Convict, who's taking care of that right now, I believe. Or maybe CCP Zealous, one of the two is a homie. Anyway, we come back to our place of Zen. Friends, thank you so much for being here. I am joined by an esteemed guest, somebody we've had on this stream before, somebody who is a dear friend of mine and yours, and of the world, really, I think. CCP Paragon, game designer for eFrontier. Okay. Hello, friend. How are you?
Hi, friends. Hello. I'm doing good. Been sweating for like 20 minutes getting this started, but
yeah, it was rough. The worst part about it was, I just got back from work because we're at the end of the workday here in Iceland, and of course my cat is sitting on the cat tower, which is right next to my desk, screaming the whole time, just like, please pay attention to me. I'm like, cat, I can't. It's just, there's not the time for it. But yes, thank you so much. Jesus, Paragon is a man of the people, a paragon of the people even. And we're going to talk about some cool stuff today, kind of.
Yeah.
And do some other things.
Kind of.
It's
the coolest of stuff.
It is the coolest of stuff. That is true. So first, before we go any further, let's get started with the big news. We just started Cycle 3. How exciting is that for us?
It was exciting getting it online. Totally nothing bad happened.
Yeah, not even a little bit of trouble with that. What's funny about it is, so CCP, we had an end of the week meeting today, and CCP Overload was bragging in the meeting that we happened to allot the perfect amount of time for the update because we allotted 3 hours, and the update finished 2 minutes to the hour before 2 o'clock this afternoon. So we nailed it in one, baby. We got it just straight away. Yeah. But we are here. This is Cycle 3. We did a universe wipe this morning, which means we're in a wholly empty universe. People who are starting out now, there's nothing out there except for what you can go out and get yourself, what you can gather, what you can meld with your own hands, your own 2 transhuman hands, and make...
into someone knocking at my door. Just keep going. You're doing great.
Okay, that's fine. Not a big deal. This is great. Okay, and there he goes. Wow, this is... Anyway, so Cycle 3, we did the universe wipe, and today is the beginning of Remnant Access, which means that if you want to play our game for free, you absolutely can. Go to eve.com. Boy, howdy. It is a rough start to the weekend. evefrontier.com/trial. That's evefrontier.com/trial. And you can play eFrontier for free for the next 10 days from April 11th to April 21st. And we encourage you to do so. We've already had huge numbers, like straight out the gate, which was awesome. We had a couple thousand people sign up yesterday that had not ever signed up before, which was sick. Love that for all of us, and love that for you. It's going to be a lot of fun. In terms of what has changed between this cycle and last cycle, not much. We're doing some more economy testing. Shout out to CCP Kalira, who I'm sure is sweating somewhere in a dusty room. I'm sure he's having the time of his life. So we are doing more economy testing. We're doing different starting conditions for our economy, for the market of Frontier this time. Should be a lot of fun. Looking ahead to Cycle 4, as we've talked about a lot on this stream and other streams, Cycle 4 is going to be the big one. It's going to be the big dog, because Cycle 4 is going to be our big content update, the one we've been looking forward to since we started Founder Access. There's going to be some new stuff in there, some revamped stuff in there, some new systems, and nobody knows more about any of that stuff than CCP Paragon. Hey,
Yo.
How you doing?
Hi. Fine. That was my neighbor.
What did he say?
He was just looking for like some stuff.
Like a spoonful of sugar or what?
Impeccable timing. That's what I can say about
that. Yeah.
Let's move on.
Okay, yeah, well, let's move on. Hey, Econ Martin says, did you ask him to play Frontier?
No, I forgot. I'll ask him after the stream.
That's good. But yeah, okay, so let's get started.
Okay, what are we're talking about? We're talking about the cycle and game design. I guess.
Yeah, game design. So I guess let's talk a little about the game design process, because we a couple months ago at this point, we had our stream where we talked about what the roadmap for the time up to June was going to look like. And back then we were in pre-production. When you're in the pre-production stage, coming out of that into what is, I suppose, production, what does that look like from your point of view? I mean, what changes now that you have a scope put together? You know what you're going to be working on. What's new from there?
I mean, you've basically turned over every stone after pre-production, or you should have. So you know what you could do or you could not do. And production is just go time.
Yeah.
Of course, things change. Scope, plans. But it's the fun part, so to speak. That's when you put stuff into client and you play around with stuff, and you do the old back and forth, and you play it over and over again, and
hell yeah,
that's when you make the thing.
Shout out Pando. What up, Pando? Coming in with he's rating us right now. Yeah,
nice.
Pando gonna be at FanFest. Fun fact: he's gonna be one of the guest FCs for the big LAN thing.
Yeah.
Are you going to that?
Of course.
Cool. So am I.
Where else would I be?
I don't know. I don't know what your schedule looks like.
I kind of wanted to do the Glacier tour.
Really? Wait a second.
It's the first time we do that. And I'm like, ooh, that's new.
But you are from here. Like, you've toured the glaciers, right? Like,
I've not done this, no. But,
how do you? Okay.
But I mean, I only get the nerds once a year, so.
That's true. And it's gonna be fun. I mean, it'll be fun. If you haven't yet, you should come to FanFest.
Yeah. So obviously we're not gonna spill all the beans. CCP Overload has been working on a presentation. I don't want to steal all his thunder.
It's pretty good.
So we're not gonna go all the way, but we're gonna talk about some stuff, and then we're gonna answer some questions.
Yes, we have a lot of questions that's the founders submitted. We're gonna do those. Speaking of the CCP Overload putting together a cool presentation that he's spilling a lot of the beans in, we are probably going to do a special chat, a special founder access only, founder exclusive stream in our Discord at some point in the not so distant future, where we will be showing you a heads up of the Frontier keynote ahead of time. So if you want to see that, I'm not saying you should be a founder, but maybe you should think about it. Just some cool you could do with you and your friends.
Yeah.
It's a pretty good keynote. I'm in it. That's basically me, CCP Goodfella. Always a good dude. Most of the time, Why did he not ask you to be in the keynote?
I don't care. But there's plenty of beautiful people in the keynote. You don't have to put me everywhere.
That's true.
That's okay.
Okay, but we are going to talk about more stuff that's going to be coming in June. that is for that. We'll talk in more detail about it at a different day. Let's talk about what you've been up to. So the last time we saw you, we were talking about the heat system. How's that coming along?
Well, it's mostly done.
Okay. Hell yeah.
At least for when we are releasing it
Mhm.
next. So
So
that was a fun challenge. It's kind of like, I think a better way to process would be to talk about it from a high level. As annoying as that sounds.
I know. No, do it.
But this would be the opportunity for us to answer why we are doing this the way we do it, and on some other stuff. You actually had a great intro. Your last time you did this, it was like, "What the fuck is Frontier?"
Yeah, what the fuck?
Maybe
is Frontier?
this can be like, "Why the fuck is Frontier?"
Yeah, let me. You know what I was supposed to do? I was supposed to pull up the thing that we talked about having pulled up, and I didn't do that. I'm gonna do it right now.
Let's go to the website.
Let's go to the website.
Always good to drive people towards the funnel. So if you haven't seen our website,
it's a good website. It's a pretty cool website, I think. Okay, we're gonna go over to this screen. We're not gonna do the Paragon Yapping Hour yet. That's
name.
coming. That is coming. I promise. We're going to do a thing here where I do this, and then I'm gonna do ignore. Listen, there's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes here right now that you just don't ask so many questions. You know. We're going to go to this screen here. Wow, look at that.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
So,
so
let's blast through some of this stuff.
This is the white paper for eFrontier. And there have been a lot of questions about this white paper. So why don't before we do anything else, you tell me what is the purpose of the white paper and how does it affect what you do, like your job, your game design business?
This is like a mission statement.
Okay.
It is doesn't really care about time though.
Yeah.
So it just gives you like this insanity level scope, which is the intent, like the purpose. It doesn't really say, this must be done in the next 2 years or 4 years. It's just like, once we are done, whenever that is, this is what it should be like.
Sure.
And there's some good stuff in there, but we can talk about it in a sense of like, from a like a why are we doing this?
Yeah.
And there's some stuff in there too with the digital science, and we can talk about like why we're doing that and from a design perspective, and then we can blast through the questions. But yeah, let's just like go through these like real quick and how we think about this. So first of all, like, you are a real human. What this means is, like, in short, is like the multi-boxing stuff is just a problem. So for a number of reasons. Reason number one, it's just like, it isn't anyone's dream to make a game where you're playing multiple iterations of the game or clients of the game at the same time. I don't think anyone, like, I mean, maybe
I don't think anyone would prefer that.
There are people that like it.
Yeah. But people don't multi-box just because they like get off on multi-boxing, right? They multi-box because they want to accomplish something that they cannot do unless they're multi-boxing.
Correct.
Right.
And everyone does it like I do. You do it. Like, it's it's more fun, and you get like more out of the game when you do it. And the other part is just like, if you have a game where you just like play multiple clients at the same time, it's much easier to automate. So you can cheat, like you can bot. And the bet here is that if we do it in such a way where, we don't design around the multi-boxing, we make it hard enough and complex enough, engaging enough, then we solve that issue which we are currently faced and have been faced in the past.
Mm-hmm.
So the goal, regardless of outcome, is that, when you are in the Frontier, you're just playing one character, like one avatar, one persona, one human in this simulation.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what that means.
Okay, that's a good start. So we've talked a lot. I think we mentioned it even on the last stream we did. that like identity matters, and that there's going to be a lot of focus on like what actually are you in game, because like so in Eve, right? Everybody kind of understands that like each player is a person, a human being, in a pod in a ship, right? So the question then for Frontier is, well, what if it's not just that simple, right? Like what are you other than just that? Are you just the meat inside the pod? Are you a thinking thing? Is your like thinking thing even like, does it have to be confined to like meat? That can it be something that's backed up into a computer? Can it be stored in like a weird crystal? Like there are a lot of options, right?
Sure.
Okay, so what is that?
But from that's from a narrative perspective, of course, that's important. But for you as the player, it's that you feel like you're only one person. Like you are not, have multiple names. You only have one name.
Sure.
And this is, plays into making it more impactful when you are interacting in the universe.
Yeah.
You can just make you could make a new account, but you can't just have an easy access to an alternate persona where you do non-nice things, let's just say.
Yeah.
And then, so choice matters.
Okay.
In the social aspect of it, we want it to matter even more. Therefore, aside from the, botting micro things,
right.
It's also that.
Okay, that all sounds really good. You want to go forward here a little bit?
Yeah. Let's keep going.
So let's talk about scarcity and impermanence.
Yeah.
So scarcity is kind of
a for EVE Online players, right?
Yeah, kind of a spooky word, right?
Yes. I mean, like.
What is it? Okay. When people talk about scarcity, they typically associate that with this idea that we, as CCP, are taking a lever and going, and now there is less of a thing in the universe, right?
Yeah.
That's not what the intent is for Frontier. Elaborate.
So I'm gonna throw this phrase out there called digital physics, which sounds kinda like
we've never mentioned that before.
I mean, like a million times, but not to sound cringe. It is like we are doing it for a reason, and from a game design reason, we're doing it to make sure we don't do a massive fuck up in design.
Good start.
So when we think about it from a perspective of like scarcity, it is kind of easy to make a change when it's just a game designer's Excel sheet, where if you can't just if only I could just make this number go up or down, we could make this change, and they would fix my problems as the player, and therefore we've introduced this pressure to make changes to reduce the pressure on me as the player, to give me more resources, so that I can easier accomplish my goals. This is a problem. So the approach we are doing it is that this is more formulaic in how we control the resources for the universe, and then we just need to make sure we don't fuck up, like make infinite inventory or something which, again, physics just would not allow to happen. So the scarcity issue is it just means that you have to fight for stuff. You can't just assume you're gonna get everything you need without some conflict, and you have to actually, once you get that stuff, make sure you have a place to store it. And people and etc.
Well, and also it means that not any one space might be the best space forever, right? Like a space might be good for a long time, as long as there are rich resources nearby. But at a certain period of time, those resources are going to dry up, and there may be other resources that appear somewhere else. But now you've got this this encampment around what is effectively a dry well. Do you just stay there and hope for the best, or do you try and import stuff, or do you move it? Do you move your entire civilization off somewhere else? You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it is as interesting as it sounds if done right.
Sure.
Rather than focusing on can you make this area of space better. It's like we don't really think about it like that. It's just like in total there is something going on in the universe, and you have some way of poking it, and you're never gonna be satisfied. Like you're always gonna need more of something.
Right.
And for you to need more, we need to make sure you can't just create an infinitely big pile of stuff.
Yes, that'd be bad.
That'd be very bad. So that's what this means.
Cool. All right, let's keep going then. Let's talk about emergent behavior. So this, like, emergent behavior makes me think of like players using or using okay, so to use an Eve example, using the POS bowling ball, right? Where like you put a ship near a POS, the shields are off, you turn the POS on, it like flings you out. That's emergent behavior, right? That's like emergent gameplay.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's emergent behavior, but design-wise, it is something that the players came up with themselves that we didn't really anticipate. And the point here isn't necessarily that we tried to create like a scripted experience. I mean, I believe we say so directly in the chat. But we kind of just like make pick, and put a wall in front of you, and then just say, get out of the, and you just go, okay, I guess I get out of the box, but then you don't just like get out of the box, you like do something crazy else with the rope and the pick. You like attach yourselves to other players, and now you're just like riding behind them on it. That's emergent behavior. You create just like a system and introduce a simple interaction between the two, and then you get something you didn't really think of.
Sure.
We obviously have been looking at this for decades now, and so from a design perspective, like we don't even try to anticipate what you guys are going to do. Like we don't like we it's just like not something we discuss.
I mean, that shit, we've already seen that shit like earlier this year, right? When we did the what was it? The finding the what do you call them? The data cores, right? Yeah. And we thought that we basically we had a contest where people could go out and find these data cores they dropped from NPCs, and then we had to get like 20 of them. And if you got all 20, awesome, good news. You got to do a cool thing that Air God won. Shout out to Air God. But we thought that was going to take like 2 weeks, and I believe it took 3 days.
Well, that was a statistical lottery win. On top of it, they got super lucky.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But even so,
you wouldn't say that perhaps we underestimated their ability to get on that grind.
Yeah. I mean, sure. There was some predictions going with the math, but they also got super lucky.
Okay.
Yeah. So again, digital physics. We just need to make sure we're not fucking up somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And if you have like a nice formulaic way of containing things, that should protect us from things getting out of control.
Sure.
It doesn't mean we can't change the physics of it. Like if there is a formula which calculates heat generation based on how much fuel you burned or whatever, it doesn't mean you can't change it. It just means like we aren't something doesn't go absolutely out of hand.
Right.
And yeah, it's mainly that. Like we're focused on making the tools for you to do something.
So I guess
I don't really care like how you do it. I don't even try to guess.
So you're not building an amusement park. That's what you're saying. You're building a tool shed and telling people to go build their own amusement park, right?
Yeah.
I mean that is the difference between. Hang on, cat, please. Sorry, CCP cat. Wilden.
Like we've talked a lot about like how we're gonna do solve mechanics, and we're just like we just ended at, we're not gonna do it. It doesn't make any sense to create some sort of capture the flag thing. It's just like you own this place because you say you own it, and you can back it up. Right. And there is a collective agreement in the community that you own this location, and therefore it is. So I'm not saying we're never going to do but something like that, but that's how we approach it. It is like, does it make sense in a realistic sense to create a system for this?
we are giving players tools though to be able to enforce their own sovereignty, right? And that is.
Yeah, I mean, you have ships and you have guns.
Yeah. I mean, and that's really that's what governments are, right? They're just the guys who have the guns and the ships, right? Right. So, yeah. I mean, I guess that is like one of the questions that gets asked a lot is, what from Eve are you going to see carried over? And the answer is probably less than you would expect, because the expectation is it's those systems, a lot of those like more established comforts that you see in Eve, because New Eden is so well established and it truly is an empire in the stars, or various empires in the stars. Like the Frontier just doesn't, like, even in lore, just doesn't have that. Like that stuff, if it ever existed at all, it was a long time ago, and it has not existed since then.
I mean, there are certain like sociological behavior stuff and mechanical interactional stuff, and like ideas and experience and massive amount of stuff like that we take over. We like something happened at some point, and we formulate that into a gameplay system, or like something interesting. We are deriving a lot of the work from online, of course.
Yeah.
But when it comes to gameplay systems, it is like realism based in science first.
Cool. Let's.
What else do we have there? Yeah, let's go.
Yeah, no.
And not that I'm like running out of time. I could be
no, we got tons of time. Listen, we're honestly we're behind too, and it's Friday. I don't have any plans. I don't know what you're doing. Okay, that's what I thought.
Okay.
No reward without risk. This feels pretty straightforward, right? Like things that are valuable, like not just like things are that like I feel like there's this very gamey thing where like, oh, something is valuable, so there has to be something dangerous next to it because it's valuable. When like that's not quite how it works most of the time, or like the dangerous thing justifies the valuable thing. Yeah. When like way more, there is a valuable thing here, and because there's a valuable thing here, like something dangerous like probably was there, and then something more dangerous came after it, and then more dangerous came after that, right? So like you have this kind of escalation of there's a resource here that is worth getting. Many different people want to get it, and as a result, like the thing, like if you come along way after the fact, you're coming along to a point now where it is a more dangerous environment there than it would have been like when it first came into existence. Does that make any sense?
Sure.
Yeah, okay. I figured it would. Just keep. Okay, what were you gonna say? Your thing was probably more well thought at the moment.
Nailed it. You nailed it.
Thanks. Appreciate it. Thank you. Shut the fuck up. Just read the thing.
Yeah. And then the third-party development. Like we created this persona before we even made anything for these people, where we had imagined, a type of person who played a game like this, and we called it like a builder. So it is like a third-party developer type of metagamer. So around this stereotype, we formulated some gameplay for, and that is like one of the most intriguing things that I've been able to be a part of so far, because it's so new.
Yeah.
But obviously, we are hugely focused on, being able to mod the game.
Yeah.
Or, configure stuff. And
this to me kind of feels like when people build games with like speed running in mind, right? Because like they know someone's going to come along and do something dramatic that will break the game.
Doesn't really make sense going back like 20 years to make like a speed running game.
Right.
Like what the hell is a speed runner?
Yeah.
It is just, this is just a programmer person who is, we are making a game for. Not exclusively, but it sounds super silly when you say it. So
right.
I'll just market that specifically. That's like, we have a very good reason for it. Because they are very good at creating content.
Yeah, no shit. Well, and like I feel
As we
like
have learned.
I do
over
feel
the
like
years.
people worry sometimes, and not for like it's not a bad reason to worry, right? We do all this stuff, like they see the word blockchain, they see the word programming, they see the word like modding, and they think like, oh, okay, I'm gonna need I'm gonna need a degree in computer science to be able to play this game. But like that's never been true for the same reason like you can play Fallout 4 or Skyrim without downloading without knowing how to make the mod that makes the Dragon's Thomas the Tank Engine, right? Like you can just get the mod. You don't need to make it. I mean, unless you want to make Thomas the Tank Engine, like the guy.
Yeah, I actually genuinely dislike the way like the Thomas Tank Engine one is kind of.
It's legit.
It's a bit of a meme. You know what I mean?
But it was a big deal at the time. Like it's a meme now because we're an enlightened society.
Yeah. There's not going to be any Thomas the Tank Engine any Frontier.
Don't do this to me.
You.
I don't. Let me dream. All right, go ahead. Sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
I mean, okay. Who am I to say that?
I don't know. Go ahead. No, please, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm gonna eat my hat in a few years, I assume. Okay, but it is. I mean, yeah, like you said with the blockchain, the point is that you don't even realize that it isn't a part of the game. It is just done in such a way where people, building these societal tools
for
other people playing the game is a part of the game.
Right.
And from a design perspective, it is very fun to make a feature for people where you can assume they're expert programmers.
Yes.
Unique design challenge. Very fun to do.
Yeah. Especially when would you call yourself an expert programmer, CCP Paragon?
No, not at all. Okay. I was actually arguing the other day about an issue we had where we were trying to implement something. And I said out loud, like, hey, like the solution to this isn't just for all the designers to become programmers.
Yeah.
And our technical director, like 60 meters away, he heard me say this and yelled, yes, it is! So that was, we are still arguing.
He's not allowed to make that call. He's not a game developer. He's not a game designer.
Yeah, I mean, but like, sometimes it just is the solution. Just become a programmer.
Just become a programmer.
Okay. I'm probably.
But we understand we cannot say that, right? Because like the circle of people who like spaceship games and the circle of people who are programmers is like it's a fairly it's a Venn diagram for sure, but like it's also this part of the Venn diagram.
I am not going to take that back.
Okay.
Especially given the advances in AI and things there, like. Keep an open mind to it, and it can be super simple.
Okay, my mind is open.
It is. The future is closer than anything.
Okay. If you say it's a good idea, then I trust you. Mostly. Okay.
But obviously, we're not designing a game for everyone to become a programmer.
Yes. Hey, we're at the bottom. Look at this progressive development. What does that mean?
Great question. What does it say?
The world of eFrontier will continue to grow and evolve in perpetuity. We have created a progressive development model that allows it to expand organically and for that to be driven collectively. This is basically everything we've already said. Man, the mission documents are always it's funny in retrospect, right? Because like you look at something like this and you're like, oh, like this has to be like a Bible for them, right? But it's more just like this is kind of what we have in mind and we'll just kind of go from here, right? Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, hey, good job. We did it. We beat the white paper. At least we beat the design principles part of the white paper. We could also do like core beliefs, which is fun. We could do this one. There's a lot of cool art in here. I don't remember.
Yeah, everyone should just go to this website, especially to the.
You check out the white paper
part.
Yeah.
It's
a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Okay. While we're on this screen. We can go back to the other screen for a second just so we can see more of you. And just a good-looking guy, What's going on? Okay. Let's go back to this one. Okay. So, for people who don't know what is going on here. So, this is we asked our founders for questions that they could then ask to CCP Paragon. These are generally game design-ish questions. There are some questions in here that are a little bit kind of outside of the bounds maybe of what you're working on right now. But you have told me directly that you work on everything.
I mean...
Do you deny it?
I'm aware of most things.
Okay.
I don't like directly...
Yes, aware of most things.
Get on the overview of what we're making.
Gotcha. Okay. That's splendid. So, but at least there are some things in here you can answer. There were a couple questions we probably will not be able to get to because they are a little bit more technical. And as we've already talked about, CCP Paragon is not a programmer or not an elite programmer. But we're going to go and dig into it. So let's start with this first one. I think this is one of your favorite questions. This comes to us from Pocket Life, who asks, what have been some of the biggest design challenges that you can share at the moment in your recent work on eFrontier? And how do these challenges shape the roadmap for future system updates? You've already talked about one of the design challenges, kind of, when you talked about like designing a game for programmers. But what else do you see in your day-to-day life? What other challenges do you experience?
Yeah.
I mean, I know you told me the other day when I asked you this question.
I mean, it's hard to go into like ranking them by size. Like, what is the biggest? It's obviously a huge challenge. There are a number of reasons why all of this is insane. Like the scope, the EVE part, the MMO part, the blockchain part.
Yeah.
But the biggest challenge is still just the universe aspect of it.
Gotcha.
Like, it is going to be genuinely insanely hard to build a universe.
Build the universe in terms of like the actual physical, like the universe itself, or like more broad.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like the resource distribution, the solar system.
Right.
All the systems that go into it, you know, the heat, the fuel, the physics of it all, is exceptionally complicated. When we, begin to ground everything formulaic in science, we have a self-imposed, like, you can't cheat.
Right.
In design anymore. It's like, what if I just like don't care about how much you weigh here?
Right.
Like, no, can't do that.
Yep.
That is the biggest challenge. It is quite the spider web.
Well,
to
and
make things work.
It's a good point, because a lot of people will bring up too the question of like, because we're aiming for like 120,000 like stars. When you have 120,000 stars, how do you make each star unique? And like, is it even worth trying to make each star unique? Like, how do you make space feel different? Because like in a traditional like fantasy MMO, right? Think of like Warcraft, right? When you're in WoW, you have different biomes. When you're in a biome, you can kind of know what to expect in that biome. But space is different in a certain sense, where like it is like, it's not traditional biomes. Like, you're not in like the swamp biome, you're not in the mountain biome. You're doing something completely different now, right?
Yeah.
What does that look like?
I mean, yeah, I guess like the lazy answer is to create a set of attributes and roll them, and it creates something unique. Like, there you go. It doesn't make it very deep. It's just, I mean, unique is easy. Just randomize numbers and
You got like unique. Meaningful and unique, right?
But what does unique feel like? You know, what is that? Is it, the size, or the amount of planets, or the amount of content in it, or it's the type of strength of the sun? It's rare.
Sure.
It's the black hole. Is it does it allow for a lot of people to live there? Is it like Cheetah? Is it the security system in Losec?
Is the sun just like really hot, and like if you're in that system, like you're just gonna
there is no specific thing that makes it unique. It is going to be a combination of, as many things we can put in it.
Yeah.
The science way is obviously we are doing realistic distances between things, so like they're going to look a bit wonky. But they're not like normalized, so we are going to get some funky stuff. Some of them are going to be way more valuable. Some of them are going to be much less valuable.
When you're talking about design challenges, do you ever consider like, the design challenge of taking my suggestion for how to fix warp or make warp cool? You ever think about that one a lot? Is that
Very oddly specific.
Yes. Sorry, I was getting ahead of myself. Let's go to the next question.
No, I mean usually it's pretty like.
But okay.
Usually when you get a suggestion back, you ask, you ask yourself like, why is he saying that?
Yes.
If you say, hey, like, could we get some like missions in this game? You're obviously saying, hey, I'm bored.
Is that what that means?
And yeah, I mean, you're not. Are you really? Do you genuinely want like missions? And if you want missions, then how? Or do you just want something to do?
So when I say to you, I want warp to feel more impactful, like more of like a boom moment, right? What do you think that I'm actually saying when I say that?
Sounds like you're talking about the acceleration phase of the warp.
You're right. It's exactly what I'm asking for. It's a fun thing to do. Just go.
You can just tell them we changed it if you want to.
I can't tell them that because we haven't changed it yet.
True.
Unless you have.
Well, we changed the mechanic of it, and then we made it the same as it was.
That's true. That's true.
But we can change it.
We can change it. Okay.
If we want to.
Okay. I don't want to waste any more of your time on this one. That's okay. Just a personal project. Just a task I'm trying to get done myself. Okay. Let's go ahead to this one from Professor Killshot. Says, may you speak more to the specifics of the further development for the World API?
Sure. World API is the like public facing API for the builders that I mentioned. It is how you interact with multiple aspects. It's how you fetch publicly available information, like the universe. It's the gateway for the blockchain, things like that. So it's sort of like ESI, but it has a different design principle behind it. So ESI is based on making things like nice for you.
Sure.
Like, hey, what if I could just give you literally every single piece of information about your character?
Okay.
That would be nice, right? It's super nice.
Yeah, be very helpful.
But the problem with that is when you have access to this much information and you can grant it to other people, they can also ask you to give it. And that's a bit of a dilemma. So what we're thinking there is that some information you just own, and you can't be asked for it. So we are working on some like cryptographic ways for you to prove that things happened. Won't necessarily be able to say that it was you, but you can absolutely say that this thing took place.
Sure.
And then of course it's just a normal access to ESI related stuff like you think it does. Like it's the character and the location, solar system, that sort of stuff.
Right.
But the dilemma here is obviously like, if a crime has been committed and the police comes to you and they say, hey, press this button, prove your innocence.
Yeah.
It's like, let's not make that a thing.
Sure.
Because the type of game we're making,
right.
To be able to.
You don't want it to be possible just to know a thing.
Yeah.
There has to be work into knowing a thing. Right. Okay. That makes sense to me. Somebody in chat asked a really good question. Can they ask for information that you can then lie back to them? Can you falsify information if it's on chain?
No. And here's the design challenge.
Okay.
I mean, you can use the truth to lie in the sense of, you bluff something. It's like, let's say you use like dscan.me or some other dscan related slam copy paste software which lists things out for you.
Sure.
And once you click the button, it goes into an alliance database and they can use it to whatever they want.
Okay. I'm with you so far.
Let's say you did a dscan and you could just like 100% prove that what you just scanned was like actually scanned. Like you just scanned these people in these ships in that location at this time.
Okay.
And you cannot lie. Like
right.
you can prove it. now that information becomes valuable because the receiver, you could sell this data to someone, and they could go like 100%. The eFrontier server says this is 100% true. So you can, that's useful information. Or did they intentionally like let you get this accurate discount?
Sure. Okay.
To pull a fast one, so to speak. So and that's interesting space there.
I guess what you're trying to do is design an interface layer where if you have a bit of information, you know that the information very specifically to what it is asking was true. But there may be conditions outside of that request that were misleading, or the information is misleading because of information outside that request. In other words, like if you can say, yes, there were 3 people in the room when I took this picture, and you can cryptographically prove, yes, there were 3 people in the room when you took this picture. That doesn't mean that there wasn't another person standing just outside of frame on the other side of the room.
Yeah. Because
all you have is the information in that one moment, right?
Yeah.
Cool. I like that a lot.
And this, yeah. And yeah. Okay, I'm not going to say anymore.
Okay.
No more.
That's fine.
No spoilers.
Well, moving ahead.
Yeah.
SGZZS says, I hope that in the future, game developers can enable players who are not familiar with programming to create functions by themselves. Wow, what a great question for the guy who just said, hey, everybody should be a fun programmer for the game. Everybody just be a programmer. So what are we going to do about that?
I mean... Yeah, I mean, I already touched on this.
Okay.
We are quite a bit.
Yeah.
It is, as we are like move, in the past couple of years,
yes.
Especially, things are going to get a lot easier when it comes to interfacing with computers,
yep.
Making them do stuff you want them to. Like, I don't know what that's going to look like in the next few years, but the only thing I know is that it is going to get a hell of a lot easier.
Right.
So we don't really need to do anything. Like,
right.
It is just the planet Earth. It's just going to take care of this problem for you, for the most part.
Hang on. Somebody's asked me when we can cut my beard. I want you guys to know I was actually asked if I would cut my beard on stage at FanFest. I
was going to ask you to. It's magnificent.
I know. I think it's because they hate me specifically. I promised that I would do it if CCP Lumi would shave her head, and I don't think she's going to want to do that. Doubt. Big doubt. Oh, thank you, guy in chat who says I look sexy with it. I got distracted for a second. Sorry, I'm a little blushed. I'm going to ride this high for a week. I guess what people... And that I want to follow this up with the next question because these two are kind of connected. And I think this is... So in regards to smart assembly programming, are there plans or discussions to allow very basic programming within the game client itself? Think like make this gate usable only to me or my corp, or make in-depth programming and allow more in-depth programming outside the game. In other words, are we going to have... Because right now, most of the smart assemblies in game need an interface to work with them. They need, you need to be able to do a thing through the back end to make them work. Are we going to, and I think we've maybe touched on this in the past, so we don't have to go into too much detail here, but is the intent for us to have a kind of cookie cutter out of the box solution for the thing that's how when you get a drone and the drone's hey, here's baby mode, you can fly the drone in baby mode, and if you want to not be in baby mode, you can turn on the advanced controls, and then suddenly you're doing flips and shit, right?
Yep.
Are we going to have baby mode or baby's first programming interface mode for smart assemblies?
Yeah.
Okay. I was going to say the answer is yes. I know the answer already, but yeah.
Yeah. We have all this smart stuff, smart programmable stuff.
Sure.
Comes with a default version made by us, so you can use it without knowing that there's third-party modding in this game. You can just plop it down and it does the basic function.
Sure.
And all the way to that too, you can slightly adjust it to you just know exactly what you're doing, and you just make it dance for you.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
You have an Apple Watch where you control your thing or something.
Cool.
I've already seen that happen, by the way. That was pretty
an Apple
cool.
Watch.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah.
That's nuts. What were they doing with it?
I think they were. It
would
was the
be-
first hackathon. But,
Yeah, I remember which one you're talking about. I think it was they were able to, like shut off an entire gate network with just like pressing a button on their wrist.
there was something.
That's kind of nuts, right? Like that's, I mean, yeah,
It was cool.
yeah. Being able to control the turrets in your system to like shoot one dude from your phone. That's pretty cool. I think it's not too bad. All right, let's move on. We have a couple more to get through. Adonis asks, is the combat system design finalized? Should we wait for another combat system design, i.e. manual fire control, aiming modules, or their combinations, for example, Infinity, Battlescape, Everspace 2, or World of Warships? Will there be a stream where CCP will talk about the combat system? Answer this question. I'm going to go throw my cat across the room.
Please don't do that. But yeah, sure. No, it's not finalized and not even close. We added occlusion, which is a huge change, and then the point was to make it as simple as possible with occlusion, so we would see what would develop out of that. And we started to see some weird shit, like people flying in lines, like it was 1477, and very interesting stuff. Like, and we, if we add too much complexity at the same time, we would have missed something. So, it is, we are looking at what people are doing, but no.
Hey!
Not
look,
even.
Look in chat. Please give us controller support for manual piloting. Isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting? Not at all relevant to a conversation you and I had just yesterday. Anyway.
I mean, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Combat is gonna based on controls. Everyone's gonna want to talk about controls.
Yeah.
And that's on the table. Like, if you get a magical control solution which works, we're just gonna do it.
I mean, in all seriousness, like there's not anything stopping people from designing an interface for their controllers, right? Like that's just...
We've actually we've already we talked to someone who played on a Steam Deck.
Yep. Yeah.
So they're really about that. It's not that we are traditionalist in the sense that we're not going to change controls. It's just what is the correct thing to do.
Right. As for the question for are we gonna have a stream about the combat system? Yeah, of course we're gonna have a stream about the combat system. Probably after June is my guess, because we're gonna see a lot more about what it's gonna look like in June. So we'll do it then. Moving ahead, I love this question. I think it's super sick. Let's see. Will frozen corpses be added to the list of items that an SSU can trade in? A few videos ago, the very cool idea of hunting players down to use them as access keys for smart gates was passed around, but SSUs do not currently accept any of the singletons like frozen corpses or the very strange musical instrument. I think the answer is probably yes, but I want to hear more about what you have to say about this.
So, question number one, singletons.
Mm-hmm.
It's not really if or we want to do it. It's just when and how.
Right.
It's just complicated.
Sure.
Corpse specifically, we have a few ideas for your corpses. Please don't clip that.
Already done.
Yeah, singletons being one of them. Like that goes from everything from the way they're itemized to the way the graphics are for them.
Yep.
And things like that.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Love that. How much? This is maybe I think your favorite question. How much consideration for fun goes into game design? And the rest of this question basically asks like
0.
Yeah. I was gonna say, do you put things in the game with the intention of just making people miserable? I guess is what the question is asking.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
With the ultimate goal, of course, of you eventually having fun.
Yeah.
So the answer is 100%. Like, for some people, it is fun to fail.
Sure.
And have a horrible thing happen to them, followed by something awesome happening to them. And because they first had to go through the awful thing, the awesome thing is even awesomer, so
Right.
to speak. That's an awful quote.
Awesome thing is even awesomer. Love that.
Shit, that was bad.
No, it's good.
Yeah, it is. It is. I mean, it is like 100%. It is about you having a good time in the frontier. There's no alternative motive than just for you to have fun.
Your alternative motive is just to like watch people suffer, so you can like sit there and watch
like,
from a distance and laugh.
Yeah, like some people play horror games like every day.
Yeah.
They're not like the rest of us, but somebody likes that. So yeah, it is finding the fun. It's
Cool.
what it's all about.
Hello. All right, next question. I love this one. I actually picked this one for myself specifically. Shout out to Bendery. Asks, what is one of the themes of Frontier so far seems to be the vastness of space. While the galaxy itself feels large when traveling, this is still reduced to number of jumps. I think this makes individual systems feel quite small, as most are just footnotes as you jump through them. Is this anything that's been planned as part of development? Is there any plans to make traveling more engaging, or systems themselves more expensive? And you actually talked about this a little bit already, in terms of like making each system not necessarily like valuable, but like interesting in some way. Travel is one of the big concerns people always ask, because like currently when you jump, right, a lot of times people are just jumping to a system, refueling, jumping to the next system, refueling. Do you feel like that's an ideal game state, or is there something more intriguing we're going for there?
It's a bit of a setup question.
That's why I'm asking. You're the design guy.
Okay. Obviously, we don't want to have it be shallow.
Mm-hmm.
We want you to think about what's there when you arrive there, and have you think about what's in there. Maybe there's something valuable. Well, for that to be the case, we'd have to make you look through the system, wouldn't we? So, first, yeah, and then if you do find something valuable, you need some way to store it.
Mm-hmm. Or some way to haul it around.
Yeah. Maybe some place to upload it. Yeah. So the topology is of course going to be something we're trying to make interesting, just via the universe generation. There's a lot of time and thought going into the layout of the land, so to speak, in the way the solar system is just they're built.
Sure.
And we are creating systems which are affected by the layouts of the solar systems.
Okay.
Namely, how the radiation and the heat works and that sort of stuff. That affects how you travel. So, and where certain stuff can and cannot spawn.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that.
Okay.
That answers that.
So there's
without saying too much.
Right, and we're gonna see more about like the new scanning system and the new heat system here before too long. And both of these things, right, are ways for players to find value in systems that might otherwise just be footnotes to this question's point, right? Like, yes, when you're in a plane flying over a region, it can feel like everything below you is just like, this is just like topography, right? But like when you get down there and you're actually in that area, you're like, oh, okay, there's stuff here that is interesting and neat and useful. I would not have seen when I was just traveling through, right? Cool. Moving ahead. Will we go completely stationless? And can we get reinforcement emails for gates? Jamie asked this question. What do you think? Will we go completely stationless?
I'm not sure. There's a couple of things we like about stations, NPC stations.
Yeah.
Namely,
they can't be
how
destroyed?
brutal of a loss it is to get fully wiped. Like, it is nice to have at least a way to strap yourself back into the game in the face of a complete eviction. Like, you know how it is being in wormhole space.
You've been evicted.
Okay, well,
that's not true. I've evicted myself. That's fair. And honestly, me saying that almost assures my eviction now. So, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, that's too bad for you. Yeah, but it is. There's some things which have some value to you. If we feel like it's not brutal enough, we'll just take away your NPC station too, and then just like, Godspeed. But
But I think
we haven't made the full decision fully because there are still a couple of things we like about the NPC stations.
right.
Namely, as well, if you're a solo player, it's sort of it's a lot of risk to go out there and start to build stuff. So again, it is just how far do we want to go, and that just it's based on the health of the game.
Is it fair to say that we will be looking to get it will be more worthwhile for people to have their own bases?
It will always be more worthwhile for people
Right.
to have their own bases. Like they are putting in more risk and therefore getting more rewards. But maybe there's something that you would like to save, a crazy item or something sentimental, or
Sure.
a backup, bootstrapping stash for
Gotcha.
getting back out there. That's what we're thinking.
Cool. Okay, that's awesome.
And mail, sorry.
Yeah.
Maybe, who knows?
Cool. This next one, I don't think this is actually. Is this? Hang on a second. Let me look at something. I think I may have. No, I didn't. Okay, I did this correctly. Did I? I did. Sorry, just want to make sure. I was looking at a bunch of these names today when I was putting this. It's a long story. Rod Quasar asks, are there plans to make parts of the base feel like they fit together more visually? For instance, snapping into a base skeleton or scaffolding. I'd love to see bases feel like you are building at a space station and less like individual modules floating separately.
Yes.
Okay.
The plan is to make it feel like everything fits together more.
Can we have
visually.
the option to do both though? Like you've played City Skylines, right?
Sure.
Okay, so in City Skylines, you got roads that go like this, and then sometimes you want roads that go like this, right? Mm-hmm. You can have both. You have a toggle for the straight line road and then the road that goes like this. Can we do that?
I mean, it is a matter of, like your experience of building a base versus your agency to do it. Like, if you want to make it look really, really bad, is that something we care about? That you like that it just looks awful.
Yes.
Like everything's just like a soup of deployed stuff.
Yep. That is the question, I guess.
Or specifically like the skeleton snapping stuff. I think most people have played like a lot of different systems. But in the immediate future, it's gonna be still a little bit neat, but
gotcha.
Snapping yet.
Cool, but we're getting there, and it's fair to say too that the base building system is a huge focus. CCP Layout was here not too long ago, or Lookup was here not too long ago. Mm-hmm. Had a lot of cool things to add about the base building. My God, thank God. About the base building system, and we're probably going to be hearing more from him before too long.
Yes.
Which is cool. Okay, last thing. That was the last question we have. Great set of questions, for, founders. Thank you so much. We have one more thing to talk about actually two things to talk about before we get out of here. The first is Cycle 3. We want to do something cool. We know that there's not a huge content update this time. There's not a ton of new stuff for people to look at. We're just doing economy testing. It can be a little bit dry. So I am giving you guys a challenge. You guys being founders and also people who are just playing the game, just remnants. I'm giving you a task, a goal, something neat and fun for you to do. And that's why I'm glad to introduce CCP Jötunn's Please Create Social Media Assets for Me so I have more time to post on Discord contest. Yes, it's the
name. That name.
And it's a great name. I'm super creative. That's why I'm the creative guy. It's a very simple contest. I'll be putting rules and regulations up for this in the Discord. This is just something for you to start thinking about. I already announced this to the founders the other day. Long and short of it is, I am going to be giving away I'm giving away 12.
Are you making yourself on the spot?
No, I'm not. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 tribal packs, the totem packs, the things that people kind of were not super sure about. Well, I'm giving 12 of them away. 9 people will get one each of their choice. One person's going to get all 3. here's how this works. You're going to create whatever, an asset for social media. Listen, in these rise and grind times, I'm a busy guy. I got a lot going on. I wake up in the morning and I get to work and CCP Swift is there and he's like, hey, I need you to make me some social media assets for Frontier so that we can get more engagement in our socials. And I'm like, man, that's a lot of work, boss. And he's like, I know it's a lot of work and I know it's hard on you, brother, but we just got to get it done. And I'm like, okay. So then I forget because I have a long day of work and I have many important meetings. So all this to say, what I'm asking, Remnants founders, my beloved, make me some social media assets. It could be screenshots. It can be video. It could be memes. It could be whatever you want. I don't care how brain rotted it is. We will send that to our council of top minds, who will just be people in the office who happen to be walking by when I'm there. And I will have them pick out 10 of the best of your contributions, and we will use those contributions to put out on our social media. If you are selected, you will get at least one of those tribal packs worth like $100. If you are the grand champion, the grand champion of internet shitposting, I'm going to give you a special Discord role because that's the thing I can do. I'll probably have CCP Red Dragon do it because I don't know how to do it exactly. He can. I'll have CCP Red Dragon give you a special Discord role that calls that decries you as the king of internet shitposting, and you'll get 3 of those tribal packs, 1 of each, obviously. So, boy howdy, how fun that will be for all of us. It's going to be a good time. I'm looking forward to it. Like I said, I know this.
You're in a tight ship in the community, man. Jesus.
I mean, listen, you have the option in life, I think, sometimes to look around you and see what resources you have. And the resources that I have are either like I could go to Fiverr and just have some dude in like some 15-year-old make me some TikTok videos, or I could go to the EVE community or the Frontier community and be like, hey, I'm going to give you some stuff if you do this thing for me. And that's what I'm going to do instead. It's pretty good. It's a pretty good system, if I'm being honest. Hey, the worst part is I haven't told CCP Swift about it. So when I go into the office, I'm like, hey, look at all this social media stuff I put together. He's going to be like, wow, Jötunn, you did such a good job. I'm so proud of you. Here's a button. And then we all win,
I'll show him your impersonation.
No, you should not do that.
He's going to love it.
He definitely should not do that. He probably he probably got like a cold chill in the back of his neck during that last part. Anyway, last thing before we go, and then I'm gonna let you all get out of here. We've actually gone over time, which is incredible considering we started 20 minutes late. Right now.
Why is that? No, just go.
Okay.
Let's get.
Sorry.
All right.
Up to listen. Okay.
Right
now we are doing a sale on Founder Access packs. $10 off every pack. Go get a Founder Access pack if you want to be one of our founders. You get all kinds of cool stuff. You get access to Stillness, our development server, throughout throughout all of our development cycle up until the point where the game goes live. Then you get game time once the game goes live. You get some cool cosmetics. You get access to streams. You get access to. You could ping CCP Overload literally any hour of the night. 9 times out of 10, he probably will respond to you. That's not even a joke. You could ping him in the founder chat right now, and he will probably wake up just because he looks at it as like, oh, a founder wants something. That's just a true thing that is real and is happening right now in our Discord. That could be you, okay? So, all this to say, think about it. $10 off founder packs until the 21st, which is when the thing ends. Cat, oh my God, look at this cat's horrifying eyes because they're green. That's so scary. Get down there, cat. Friends, thank you for this. Has been kind of a chaotic stream, but CCP Paragon, I wouldn't if I wanted to do this with anybody else other than you. You're like the balm on my soul. You just soothe me.
Jesus.
Yeah,
Christ,
I know. We're doing our best.
End it.
Yeah. Thank you, friends, for joining us for another EVE Frontier live stream. We'll be back next week. We're going to be doing a very cool stream with CCP Maximum Cats. We'll be on to talk about visual target in EVE Frontier. We'll have a lot of cool news, things to show you, a lot of cool visual elements, some stuff, maybe even some sneak peek stuff for the EVE keynote, and a lot of other things to look forward to. After that, we have a group of really cool UI UX persons in our office who will be coming in the week after next Friday, so 2 weeks from today. That one is going to be a banger. They are so excited about it, and I am also excited for you to get to see it.
They don't know, do they?
They know. We'll see how excited they are about it when it comes time. They're excited about it now. Like maybe 2 days ahead of time. We'll see. Anyway, all that being said, friends, thank you so much for joining us. I've been CCP Jötunn. Joining me has been CCP Paragon. And until next time, we will see you on the frontier. Have a lovely rest of your weekend and enjoy Remnant Access. Thank you so much. Have a good night.